Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Drive to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 24. This could be potentially the second last episode of the series, depending if we get eliminated here in the playoffs or not. But anyways, in last episode, if you didn't catch it, we had a pretty damn good season simulation. We finished with 57 wins, and yeah, it was a really good season for this team. Really good depth scoring, and I'm really happy that we made it back to the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't finish as the best team, but we nearly won the President's Trophy this season, which was kind of a surprise considering I'd expected a little bit of drop-off from this team in a sense, but obviously we assimilated really well. We were technically the best team in the Eastern Conference behind the Columbus Blue Jackets, who only finished 1 point above us, and obviously the Vegas Golden Knights were a very good team this year as well. So 3 teams with 110 plus points, actually 4 teams with the Washington Capitals, so it should be interesting to see if any of those 4 teams even actually win the Stanley Cup. I definitely think Washington could win it because they have been trending in that direction as of late. I don't know about Columbus and Vegas, but who knows? And then there's a chance that we could potentially win it, but I feel like we could get cheesed considering we don't even have that great of a defensive core, yet we simulated still very good defensively. So I don't know how it's going to hold up in the playoffs. Obviously, we do have good goaltending, so maybe that could help us again this year because obviously Zadorov has been a very good playoff goaltender up to this point in time. But let me show you guys here what Zadorov's playoff numbers are looking like right now. I wasn't really going to go into career stats and stuff yet, but you can see he's got a .924 save percentage in 34 games in the playoffs. So we're expecting some big things from him this year in this playoffs. If he helps us out a lot, we should be able to get it done if our offense is able to get it done. Because obviously last year you could see he had 5 losses, but he had a .935 save percentage. So it depends also if the team could kind of balance out that great goaltending with good offense as well, and we could cheese opponents. But it's going to be a tough task because we are playing Montreal, who actually started the season off on a really good note, and then they kind of fell off a little bit, which that's kind of scares me in a sense that they might be able to knock us out. They only finished with 45 wins, but there was a point where they were leading our division with us around, and then eventually I guess they just fell off a cliff, and now they could potentially win a Stanley Cup, who knows. But we've had a lot of historic matchups with this Montreal Canadiens team. They don't really have a lot of guys that are still left from their roster. A couple guys like Tuzolino have definitely been there for those matchups, but a lot of these other faces are quite new. Obviously, when we were playing Montreal in their prime, they still had like Berkeley Caton. They still had Malcolm Spence. Like, they had a very good team at that point in time, but it definitely has taken a bit of a hit since then. So hopefully we're able to beat them and get ourselves to that second round and just keep this series going, because like I said, if we end up losing, then the next episode will be the finale recap where we go over every player's career stats. We look at the record book, look at record books around the league as well, just to kind of see what other teams had for career records and stuff like that. And it'll be a pretty fun little episode, but it would be the end of a very fun and good series. But anyways, before we get into this first round matchup and maybe our last playoff series, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say. So the first comment is from Joseph D. Miller, who says, "Great season. Did anyone in the minors grow enough to help in the playoffs?" Let's take a look and see, because I'm actually not too sure. I think Tampolini might be the only one, to be honest. Let's go by each position here. Yeah, see, Tampolini is kind of the only one. Technically, Karpatsev is listed also as a depth forward, but there's not really any room on the roster for these guys to get slotted in unless I wanted to call up Tampolini, send down Dodge in the playoffs, and then that way we have a better depth forward in case of an injury. But how was Dodge this season? I don't even remember. 2 games and 1 goal. He wasn't too bad, but I think just for the overall boost, I might do that. I'm going to double check if the AHL made the playoffs. I don't think the AHL team made the playoffs. If they made the playoffs, obviously I'd rather Tampolini leaning down there. But if they didn't make the playoffs, I would call up Tampolini as a depth forward. I think that might actually be a good idea just in case to give us a bit more depth. And then maybe he gets into the lineup here in the playoffs just because this is our last run. In terms of left wingers, no left wingers on the AHL team. Okay, that's not great. No right wingers whatsoever that are that good. From a defensive standpoint, no defensemen that really are worth calling up. And from a goaltending perspective, there is McHammond, but obviously we do already have 2 really good goaltenders, so there's no point on doing that. So I think the only thing we're going to do probably is if the AHL team missed the playoffs, I am going to call up Tambolini. Let me just double check and see if that's the case. Yeah, they missed the playoffs. That's unfortunate, because you would think with a roster like that they would actually do somewhat okay, but unfortunately they did not. So let's go to roster moves here. And we are going to call up Tambellini, and we're going to send down Dodge just because I think it's just a little bit better of a boost in a sense. Like, there's a chance Tambellini doesn't play any games, but I might want to get him in if for somebody like on the fourth line, like Colborne isn't playing like he should be. I could get him in instead. Now, what kind of sucks is I just realized Coop has dropped down to a 76. I think it's because of morale, because of lack of ice time. Likely. Let's just double check on that. Yeah, it's because of ice time. Like, he is listed as a third line checking forward, so if I give him some PK time, that might help out things a bit. So we might want to try and... Actually, no, was he scratched, Jerry Coop? He was scratched. Okay, that's probably why he's not happy, is because he was a healthy scratch. That's interesting. I'm not going to send him down, but I would if the morale kind of persists. He might get into the lineup in the playoffs as well at some point. But let's call up Tambellini and send down Dodge. And obviously, we'll just go best lines in the AHL because the AHL team's not even in the playoffs. But that gives us a little bit more of an overall boost to our lineup when there is injuries. Like, obviously, we don't have the best depth forwards in the world or defenders, so good to just kind of bolster that up a little tiny bit. And the last and final comment is from Center Otaku. It says, based on Montreal's drop-off from the beginning of the season, I fear that you're going to get cheesed. You should make a list of players like Burkov who aren't on this team anymore to check their stats in the final episode. And yeah, for sure. I think what we're going to do probably is this episode, I'm not going to simulate and see the awards afterwards if we get eliminated in this first round. I'm basically going to leave that to the start of next episode. So at the start of next episode, I can take a look at everybody on our rosters, player stats, even if we have like guys that end up retiring. I'll also go through every team's lineup because obviously at that stage I could still go view lines. So I'll look through every single team and we'll see if there's any former players still in the NHL. And we'll take a look at what they've been up to since they played with us as well. So I think that's basically the plan. Also, obviously, like I said, looking at the record book, similarly up to the awards after we get all that done. And that should finally wrap up our last season here in Halifax. So anyways, that's that. Let's get into this playoff matchup with Montreal. Hopefully we get good goaltending again from Zadorov. And then, like I said, hopefully our offense can find itself. Because obviously, if our offense finds itself and we get that goaltending, we could be a very good team. So obviously it was a really good regular season, but now it needs to transpire into the playoffs. Obviously, if we lose in this playoff run, I'm not going to be too pissed off because we won a Stanley Cup already, but at the same time, it would be nice to get another one to kind of wrap up this series, but I honestly don't know if that's wishful thinking or not. But let's get into this first game. We have home ice advantage. Let's see if we could take a 1-0 series lead on this Canadiens team. Like we said, they might be able to cheese us, and hopefully that's not the case. Come on, boys, you got this. You got the experience factor. First period of game number 1. 2-1 Habs. Not ideal. Not a great start for Zadorov. I mean, he did face 14 shots, so it's actually kind of close. Aronson opens the scoring. Erat ties it up for us, and then Gerbeshkov gives them the lead. Shots are 14-13 in favor of Montreal. They're only up by a goal, so they're up by a shot and a goal. Pretty even first period, but it's not great that we're giving up goals already because obviously if we give up goals, then that's going to be a problem for our team going forward. It's probably because we have a little bit of a weak defensive core or something like that, but hopefully that improves in these next few games. I could always make some adjustments if need be. So let's see if we could tie this game up in the second period because that would go a long way in terms of maybe getting back into this game. Second period? 4-2. Oh boy, yeah, I don't feel great about this, to be honest. I think Saturn Otaku might be onto something, even though it's only game 1. Yeah, we tied it up at 2 with a power play goal from Hamalainen, which is nice, but then Sexsmith scores for them and Aronson scores as well. Shots are 26-23 in favor of us, though, so we're actually still outplaying them, but Zadorov is having maybe one of his worst starts to a playoffs, which is not ideal. Obviously, we do have Mauricio McKenzie we could start in the game, or we could call it McCammond, but I don't think that's something I really want to get into doing at this point, because Zadorov has obviously been that guy going forward, but hopefully he has a good third period here, and maybe he could build off that in the next game, because obviously this is definitely one of his worst starts for sure, and hopefully our team could get some more goals maybe in the third period and give itself a little bit of momentum going into next game. Even if we don't win this first game, it would be nice to get something going in this series in general. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could get back into this game down by a pair. If we could get 1, maybe we could get 2. Power play for us. It's a long power play. We already have 1 power play goal, but we do not get 1 there. And of course, they score right afterwards. Well, that's not great. It's 5-2 Holmes with that goal. And we are going to be losing game number 1 on a home ice, which means we're going to need to take a game in Montreal as well by a score of 5-2, despite outshooting them 41-35. So Zadorov with 30 saves, which is not bad, but 5 goals against is a little bit bad. And then we only scored 2 goals on 41 shots. So both things that we didn't want to have happen happened, where we played bad defensively, goaltending-wise, and then our offense didn't even really show up that much either. That's not ideal. Not ideal at all. Erat from Booz and Mangone, and Hamalainen from Raymond and Boucher. Obviously, this is our first ever playoff run without like Lehman and basically the old law line. Lehman, Ahinen, and Wilm, all those guys are long retired now. So maybe the team's just going to be a little bit down in the dumps about that. I don't know. This is when I kind of wish I still had like Lehman, obviously, and Wilm. But Wilm would be long retired likely by now at this stage. Lehman, on the other hand, could have probably played maybe a few more years. But yeah, this team needs to find a way. Trying to think of what we could do if we want to make any adjustments already or not. Maybe I'll go to Jacobson as the top liner, and Ozens as a top liner, Hamalainen, Erat, and Raymond as a line. That's the her line, and then we have the badge line or the jab line. Yeah, the jab line and the her line. And then this one, we'll probably keep the same. I could get Del Rivera back into the top 6 potentially, but I don't know about that. I think I'm going to keep every line other than that the same for now. Just because I think I will probably, if there's another bad game, I'll make some actual adjustments where we bring some guys into the lineup. But for right now, I think that's what we're going to run with. We'll go with Ramo, Cardwell, Kavanaugh, and Cracknell. And then, yeah, Zadorov is obviously going to get another opportunity. But, yeah, that's a very rough start with an .857 save percentage. Definitely not what I was expecting for him, though, considering we just looked at his playoff numbers and he had a .925 through 34 games or whatever it was. So that definitely was an outlier of a game. Hopefully he has a response to that in Game 2, plays much better, because obviously the good goaltenders usually bounce back from games like that. So I'm trusting that he'll be able to do that. Obviously, if he has 2 straight games like that where he's not good, then we might be in a very bad situation. Let's see if we can tie the series up headed to Montreal, because obviously if we lose our first 2 games on home ice, then we're going to need to win both games on Montreal's home ice, and that's going to be pretty damn tough, because the Bell Center isn't an easy building to play in, for sure. But here we go. First period of Game 2. Do we have a response after a bad first game? First period, 1-0 us. Good start. Good start. Ricardo Richter with 27 seconds left in the period, so it was almost a scoreless first period. Shots are 14-7 in favor of us, so we're out shooting them, but only up by a goal. So our offense has been not super good. It's generated a lot of chances, which is great, because we've had like 55 shots through 4 periods in the series, which is great. But we haven't been able to score a ton of goals. Hopefully we can find that soon. But a good first period in response by Zadorov after last game's performance. Hopefully he has a good second period ahead of him, and hopefully our offense can get going a little bit too. Second period, 2-1 us. Okay, I'll take it. They tied it up on a power play goal early into the second, but then Raymond gives us back the lead with another late goal with 1:19. Shots are 23-20 in favor of us, and we're up by a goal. So 19 saves so far from Zadorov. He's having a better game for sure, but still not as dominant as he has been in the past, in my opinion. Maybe he'll have a good third period here to kind of separate himself a little bit more, and hopefully we can get a third goal at least to kind of just make sure that Montreal doesn't come back in this game. Let's see if we can get that insurance marker. Let's see what happens. And of course they score early for the second time in this game as well. That's not ideal. We keep giving up early goals to start periods, and then they took the lead. Of course, yeah, this game I feel like is definitely going to cheese me here in this first round. This is why I didn't want to really record this episode today, but obviously this has to go up tomorrow technically, so as of this recording, and we're going to lose 4-2 in Game 2, and we've lost both of our home games. Well, that's not good. We outshot them by 10 shots, so once again, not an ideal performance from the goaltending, and then our offense just can't find ways to score consistently despite having the shot advantage, which is not great. That's not good. We had the lead, and then we just fell apart. Richter from Del Rivera and Raymond from Hamalainen and Cardwell, and then they get 3 unanswered goals. What am I going to do to make this team simulate better? McKenzie actually came into the lineup in the final... Wait. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It says he doesn't play any minutes and then he allows 1 goal. Or he makes all his saves, his 1 save. I guess he played the final 16 seconds of the game, but for some reason the second counter isn't counting up. I don't really know. I don't think he would have got yanked after 3 goals unless he got injured, Zadorov, but that's a bit weird. Raymond did get 3rd star, which is nice. He's actually been probably one of our best offensive players here early on, but we need a more consistent effort from this team because obviously now we need to win both games in Montreal, which is not where we want to be. We're being outscored 9-4, which isn't huge in terms of advantage, but obviously we're only scoring 2 goals a game right now. We need a lot more offense going, so we are going to probably inject Tambellini into the lineup, and then I might have to move Del Rivera back into the top 6. Raymond's only down to an 82. Jeez. Let's get Raymond up there with Jacobson and Boucher for a change. We'll do Ozens, Del Rivera, and Erat. Hamalainen will play with Richter and Dwyer. We're going to take Colborne out of the lineup just because he's actually not Colborne. I'm going to take Booze out of the lineup, I think. He does have an assist so far, but I am going to take Booze out of the lineup. I'm going to put Colborne on the wing. And we're going to put Tambellini in between them. So it's going to be a 4th line of Jennings, Tambellini, and Colborne. And then from a defensive standpoint, ooh, -3 so far from Cracknell. Those 77s are starting to struggle like they actually should have last year or 2 years ago when we won a Stanley Cup. Let's go with Kavanagh on the top 6 and Mangone up just to kind of balance out the defense maybe a bit more. And then, yeah, Zadorov's got an 864 save percentage. He has had a very rough time here early on. I'm going to keep him in net for the next game, but it's only because he's Zadorov. Obviously, if he was just a normal goaltender, I'd probably swap him by now. But since he's Zadorov, I'd probably put him in net. And, Mauricio McKenzie was very good last year in the playoffs too. Or, yeah, last year. There's a chance he might get in depending on how Zadorov plays in his 3rd game. We could always call up McCammon too, and maybe he could be that type of goaltender to cheese us a win, like kind of like an Aiden Taze. But at the same time, I don't think I want to call up a goalie from the AHL right now. So let's see if we can win in Montreal, because obviously it seems like at this rate we could potentially get swept, which is not exactly how you want to go out in a series, but that honestly might end up happening because we're just getting cheesed pretty much for the most part. Just as Saturn Otaku was mentioning, I wish Saturn Otaku, you need to just not predict anything in the series. You just got to like say, hey, let's go Halifax, and hopefully that will give us a cup win, because it seems like a lot of the time when you predict stuff, it seems to come true, which is not always the best thing. But anyways, let's get to Game 3 in Montreal, see if we could get back into the series, because obviously if we lose this game, we're going to have to pull off a reverse sweep, which I don't think I've done in quite some time. But anyways, here we go. Game 3 in Montreal. Let's get this win, boys. First period. 1-0 us. Hey, good start again. Pretty much the exact same thing as last game where we started off the scoring again. So Bernard Boucher scores, probably born in Quebec, so probably scoring in front of some of his family members, who knows. Shots are 13-7 in favor of the Habs, so we are actually being outshot for a change, which is nice. Because it seems like Zadorov likes to face a lot of shots early, and maybe he's good after that. If he gives up a couple goals early on, then obviously it kind of gets to his head maybe a bit. But a solid first period from the defense, the goaltending, and obviously our offense managed to pick up a goal on only 7 shots, so hopefully it continues to build off that. So far we've only scored 2 goals a game, so hopefully we can find that offensive explosion where we score like 3 or 4 goals in a game, and maybe that helps us generate some momentum going into the next game as well. Let's see what happens in the second period, see if we can get an insurance marker or 2. Second period, 2-1 us, okay. Erat made it 2-0 on a power play goal. Fuga Fuji gets the Canadiens on the board, but so far Zadorov is definitely having his best start of this series. He's made 25 saves through 2 periods, but obviously we still have a period to go, and we need maybe some more insurance markers. Maybe need to generate a little bit more offense too, because we don't have a lot of shots so far. And like I said, we've only been scoring 2 goals a game, so right now is the difference. If we're able to score another goal, that's our best offensive game yet of the series. If we don't get another goal, then we're pretty much doing the exact same type of thing as we've done the first few games. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could hold them off. get an insurance marker and win this game and get ourselves back into the series. Come on, boys. Let's get an insurance marker here. Could be anybody on the team. I don't really care on what roster player. Hey, Colborne, let's go. That's why I didn't scratch him. There's our first 3-goal game of the first round, which is great to see. Hopefully we can build off that into the next game as well. Final few minutes. And Zadorov is going to return to form as Dwyer gets his first ever playoff goal as an empty net goal, which is kind of funny. We got outshot 36-27, but we win by 3 goals. So there is a good performance from Zadorov and exactly what he's usually used to. Not like the first 2 games where he played really bad. So hopefully Zadorov continues to bring that momentum into the next game, plays good like that again, because that was a pretty textbook first game in Montreal. Boucher from Jacobson and Raymond, Erat from Jacobson, and we had Colburn from Jennings and Tambellini. So Tambellini picks up an assist in his first playoff game, which is really nice to see. And then Dwyer from Hamel-Leinen. 3 stars of the game. Zadorov, the first star, really nice to see him back to form again. And then Dwyer got the second star, which is kind of weird. I don't know why, because he had an empty net goal, and then he had 3 hits. So I guess those 3 hits helped him get the second star of the game. And then Fugafuji, the 3rd star for Montreal. So we're back into the series. Obviously, we do still need to win 1 more game in Montreal, or else we're still in a bad spot. So it would be nice if this is the home ice win trend in a sense, or not home ice win trend, home ice lose trend, where basically it changes all the way until Game 7, where Game 7 we would win. Who knows? Maybe it could be the case. I think we're going to obviously rock with the same lines because our 4th line managed to pick up some points, which is nice to see with Tambellini getting injected into the lineup because that was his first NHL game, and he picked up an assist in it and was +1. So, yeah, that's a really good start. Obviously, it sucks that we won't get to see this guy's career paying out in the NHL, but still, nice to have him here in the playoffs. Instead of Booze right now, who's scratched, I could get Booze back in at some point instead of like Jennings or Colborne, but right now, obviously, it's good to keep it the same. I don't know if Coop gets another game in the series because he hasn't played yet, but Coop is another guy I could inject if need be. Okay, I think we got to keep the team the exact same for the next game. Let me actually take a look at Zadorov's stats now through 3 games. Obviously, the first 2 games were pretty dreadful, but this 3rd game got him up to a .905, which is definitely a lot more respectable than an .850 save percentage. Okay, let's get to game number 4 in Montreal. Obviously, like I said, if we lose this game, we're in a pretty bad spot. Obviously, if we win this game, though, then who knows what happens in the final 3 games or whatever of the series. So, we win here. I think it could go to 7 games for sure. If we lose it, it's going to be an uphill climb for this team for sure, regardless. So, let's see what happens in game 4. See if we could get another win on the road. Our last game was a good effort. Let's see if we could bring it into the next game as well. Hopefully, Zadorov plays on his game, and our offense keeps on doing what it's done in that last game, too. Come on, boys, please. First period of an important game 4 for both teams. 1-0 Habs. Not ideal. A power play goal from Pare. We are being outshot 16-9, so Zadorov had a very good first period, I'd say. But obviously, he can't stop every single shot. And then our offense does not really show up too much. We only had 9 shots on goal. We need to definitely generate a lot more chances if we want to get back into these games because we haven't really had a strong offensive game other than last game in the series. Obviously, one of those goals was an empty net goal, so technically we've only been scoring still around 2-3 goals a game. So hopefully we don't find ourselves in a hole because obviously we can't dig ourselves out of that really that well. So, do we have a good second period ahead of us where we get good goaltending and our offense is able to show up? Let's see what happens in a huge 20 minutes of the series. Second period. 2-2. Let's go. That's a great response. Let's go, boys. Erat tied it up early. They get a goal literally 21 seconds later from Levo. And then Colborne scores again. That's why I did not take Colborne out of the lineup. We're being outshot 30-18. It seems like whoever outshoots the opponent is not the one that wins, which is kind of weird. So Zadorov has been playing pretty damn good and keeping us in this game. And we've been able to convert on our chances. This is obviously a crucial 3rd period for us. So if we win this 3rd period, we're back to square 1 again. We lose this 3rd period, and then we have to win 3 straight games. Come on, guys. You know this is your last run for a Stanley Cup again before the series ends. Let's do it for the fans. Let's tie the series up at 2. Let's see what happens. Who wants to be the hero and give us a lead in this 3rd period? Could be anybody on the roster. Colborne's been hot as of late. That fourth line's been really good. Maybe it's somebody there. Bernard Boucher. Let's go. Boucher's been also good as of late. Couple goals, so that's nice to see. Ricardo Richter, 4-2. Let's go, guys. And we are going to take both games in Montreal and tie this series up at 2. That's a great veteran response from this team, mostly because of the goaltending performance from Zadorov, I'd say, and our offense starting to show up. 36 saves from Zadorov in that one, so he's found his game again, which is great. And we scored 4 goals on 32 shots, none of them empty net goals, so that was our best offensive output, I'd say, yet. Let's take a look at these player stats. So Erat from Ozens, Colborne from Jennings and Tambellini, Boucher from Jacobson and Cardwell, and Ricardo Richter, I guess. I was going to say Richter, but then I started saying Ricardo, from Hämäläinen and Cracknell. But one thing I did see is that Tambellini took a high-sticking double minor in the first period. So literally he's played 2 games and he's already got 4 penalty minutes. What a goon. 3 stars of the game, Zadorov for the first star, again Boucher the second star, and Colborne the third star. So the question is this the home ice losing trend that we were just mentioning about? Or is this the one where we maybe win 4 straight games and win? Or are the Habs going to just find a way to like respond and win 2 straight games of their own? It's going to be an interesting scenario regardless. I think it could be the home ice trend just based on this. I don't know for sure though. Okay, I wanted to take a look. I think Tambellini's up to 2 points in 2 games, did I see? Didn't he pick up an assist in this last game as well, or no? Yes, he did. He's been really damn good. He's only played .959 a game, and he's point per game here in the playoffs. 2 points in 2 games. Very glad I called him up and gave him a chance. He's also got only 2 shots on goal, so he doesn't shoot a lot. And then obviously he has that double minor that he took in the last game. But he's been very good in this lineup. I almost feel like giving him power play time, but then I feel like he's going to get too much ice time. But I don't really know if there's a way to even get him on the power play. Not really, unless I took Richter or somebody off, but I don't think I want to do that. The power play has been decent here already anyways. It would be nice to get, obviously, Booze back in or Coop into the lineup, but right now this new looking fourth line has been pretty good. Since they've been put together, Colborne's got 2 goals and Jennings has 2 assists. So that fourth line's been maybe one of our best offensive lines, which is kind of funny. Okay, let's keep the team the exact same for this next game. It's been a very solid last few games. We've been getting our goaltending that we wanted, and our offense is starting to pick it up. Let's see if we can continue to do that and take this next game. Because if we take this next game, then I don't think, then it's not the home ice win trend. If we lose this game and then we win game 6, then it's probably the home ice win trend. Or home ice lose trend, whatever you want to call it. But let's get to this next game, see if we can win our 3rd straight and take our first lead of the series. Let's see if Zadorov has another good game in him. He could definitely do it because he's the best goalie in the league almost at this point. First period of game 5. This is crucial. 1-0 us. Good start for the defense. Good start for the goaltending. And another good offensive start. Even though it's only 1 goal, it's still nice to score in those first periods. Shots are 10-9 in favor of us as Chucky has the only goal. I haven't called him Chucky in a while, so maybe calling him Chucky now will make him go off because he's been really good as Charles Raymond, but when you call him Chucky and we were talking about the cheese and all that type of thing, it really definitely went a long way, it seemed like. Anyway, shots 10-9, we're up by a goal. Can we get some insurance in the second period to make us feel a little bit safer? Second period. 2-1 us, okay. Cardwell made it 2-0, so good to see Cardwell on the board. And then 2 Zelino does pull them within 1. We are being outshot 25-19. Seems like once again, whoever outshoots the opponent is not winning the game so far, which is kind of weird. Because the first 2 games we outshot them, then these last 3 games they've outshot us. And we still end up winning these games, except for who knows about this one at this point. But Zadorov is obviously playing very good since those first 2 games. That's why we held him in net, and we didn't go to McKenzie just right away. Let's see if we could lock this game down in the 3rd and win our first home game of this playoff run. Come on, boys. Let's get some insurance. They tie it up to Zelino with his 2nd of the night. Not ideal. Power play for us. Come on, power play. You got this, and we do not score on it. Come on, guys. Do you have an answer? I know you do. Dwyer, maybe, or somebody on the defensive core like Cracknell randomly. That'd be hilarious. Final few minutes, and we are going to be going to overtime in a crucial Game 5. Obviously, whoever scores next will be one win away from the second round. Shots are 36-32 in favor of Montreal, so it's been a pretty close game shot-wise now, and both goalies have been pretty damn strong at this point. Zadorov has definitely been a lot better than those first two games for sure. That's why you always trust in the number one goaltender, I guess. Who wants to be the hero for us in overtime? Who am I going to call on? Because I wanted to give my OT predictions for our team. Try and think of who I would call on. It would be nice if Tambellini scored his first ever playoff goal in OT, but I don't know if he would because he doesn't take a lot of shots. Who has not scored in a while? I'm trying to think. I think Dwyer could have a goal in him. Just because of the fact that his only goal so far in this playoff run has been an empty netter. I'm going to say Dwyer maybe could give us the win here. Let's see what happens in overtime. This is crucial. Come on, guys. Let's get that next one. Doesn't have to be Dwyer, but anybody on our roster would be nice. Could be Cardwell. Could be Cracknell. Could be somebody on the roster. Anybody. Penalty kill in overtime. Don't take penalties in OT, boys, especially long ones like that. But we killed it off. And are we going to double overtime? Power play late for us. We do not score on it, but we do go to double overtime. Shots are 49-44. This is one of the best goaltending games we've seen. Zadorov has made 47 saves trying to get this team to win. He's definitely been locked in the last while, but their goaltender's been playing good in this game too, making 42 saves up to this point. We do have a power play going into double overtime, I think, still. But I am a bit scared that they could score a randomly shorthanded goal, obviously, so who knows what could happen. We know it's going to end quick. Who wants to be that guy? Like I said, I'm calling on Dwyer. Let's see if Dwyer actually shows up and maybe gets us to win. Power play for us. We get it killed off. Power play again for us. We do score, I think. Right? Yes, and it's Chucky. Chucky, let's go. Chucky Cheese. Power play goal in double overtime. Final shots are 49-49 at the end of it. That was a crazy game. 47 saves from Zadorov. Obviously, he's getting first start of the game for the third straight game. There's no question about that. Let's friggin' go, boys. So, Chucky from Jacobson, Cardwell from Jacobson and Boucher, and Chucky from Jacobson. So, Jacobson had 3 assists too, which is not going to go unnoticed. And Chucky, obviously, with the 2 goals. But a big performance there from Chucky. That's why he gets paid the money that he does. He shows up at those type of moments. Yeah, we only literally had 4 guys with points, but still. Great effort from the team. And then, yeah, Zadorov, insane these last 3 games. A 959 save percentage, 47 saves, and a Chucky to second start, 2 Zolino for them. Scored all their goals as well. And we have our first lead of the series. Means we are 1 win away from going to the next round. Obviously, who knows, Montreal could still win on their home ice too, but obviously it looks like we might be able to find ourselves somehow into the next round, despite we were being in an 0-2 hole at one point. I think we got to keep the team the exact same. Everything's been working well. Obviously, it's been a very close series, but our goaltending has been much improved these last 3 games. Because Zadorov has only allowed a total of 5 goals in 3 games. After in the first 2 games, he allowed 9 goals. So he's been elite here these last 3 games. Let's keep the team the exact same. Obviously, if we lose this game, maybe I look at adjustments, but I don't think it's necessary. But let's see what happens. See if we could close out Montreal and go to round number 2, or 2, as people from Quebec would say. First period of game number 6. 2 on us. Hey, good start for our offense. Not the best start goaltending-wise, obviously, because we give up an early goal, but a solid first period against for Zadorov. 1 goal on 12 shots. Lupul with that power play goal, but Cracknell and Ramo. So we're getting some goals from the blue line in this game, which is nice to see. Obviously, it's always good when your defense can help us out. Shots are 12-11 in favor of Montreal. We're up by a goal. So pretty even shot-wise and goal-wise. If we could have a good second period here, that would be nice. Like good goaltending again. And if we could get some insurance, obviously, that could go a long way. Let's see if we have a good second period ahead of us that could potentially help us end this series. Second period. 4-2 us. Let's go, boys. Esch made it 2-2 early on, but then Ricardo Richter with 2 big goals a couple minutes apart, and we have a 4-2 lead. And there's a chance that we might win the series 4-2 because of that as well. Shots are 23-22 in favor of the Habs. We're up by a pair of goals. Not as strong of an effort from Zadorov in this game so far, but obviously He has definitely helped his team turn it around quite a bit after those first 2 games. Let's see if we could lock it down in this third period and get ourselves to the second round. Come on, boys. One more goal would definitely go a long way here. Penalty kill, and we get a short-handed goal from Len Jennings. Let's go, Len, and then Colborne scores it 6-2. That fourth line, man. Let's friggin' go. That fourth line definitely has helped out a lot. We are up 6-2, and just like that, we win 4 straight games, and we are going to be headed to the second round, taking out the Montreal Canadiens. No cheese for them, cheese for us. Let's go. Shots were 35-31 at the end of it, and we win 6-2. What an effort. What an effort. So, Cracknell from Richter and Hamalainen, Ramo from Erad and Cardwell, and then we had Richter with his 2 goals, one from Dwyer and Hamalainen, the other one just from Hamalainen. Then we had Jennings from Del Rivera and Kavanagh, and Colborne's third of the first round from Cardwell and Raymond. 3 stars of the game. Ricardo Richter, the first star with 3 points. Hamalainen, the second star with 3 points. And Zadorov gets third star. So Zadorov has been a star in every single one of those wins. And that's exactly what I wanted from him. But obviously he didn't do that in the first 2 games. But he was much better in those last 4. Those last 4, he didn't allow more than 2 goals in a game, which is amazing. 2, 4, 6, 7 goals against in 4 games. Phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff. Let's take a look at our player stats and team stats after the first round, and we'll say who we are playing in round number 2. Let's actually go to team stats already. I'm curious on our goals for and stuff like that. Oh no, I feel like there's a chance we might be playing Burkov in Boston in the next round. They scored less than they allowed, and they somehow made it to the next round. I feel like we might play Burkov in the next round. That's my prediction right now. But technically right now we're scoring 3.5 goals a game, allowing 2.67. We're here 20% on the power play, 83.3% on the PK. Not bad. We're very good on the road, but not too great still on home ice. Obviously that's something that needs to be worked on a little bit. Let's take a look at our player stats so far up to this point. We've been getting some pretty good depth scoring, I'd say. So Richter on 5 points, 4 goals. Obviously he won the Conn Smythe the year we won the Stanley Cup, so he's off to a good start. Erad on 4 points, but -3 is not ideal, but still. Boucher on 4 points in 6 games, pretty damn good start for him. And Tambellini's helped out quite a bit. He's a +3 with 2 assists in 4 games. Left wing side of things, Hamalainen's been fantastic, 7 points in 6 games, only 1 goal, but he's a passer, so it makes sense. Booze with the 1 assist in 2 games, and then he got scratched. I don't know if we get him back in the second round. You guys can let me know if we should. Ozzin's on 1 assist in 6 games. He needs to be much better. Obviously, he was very quiet for a guy that's a top 6 forward and had 69 points. So we need definitely a lot more out of Jan Ozzin's if possible. Right wing wise, Raymond on 7 points was good. Jacobson had 6 assists. He was good. He didn't score a single goal, but he's more of a passer guy too. Colborne on 3 goals in 6 games, +3 is nice from a 4th liner. Jennings on 3 points as well, +3 is great from another 4th line PK guy. Dwyer on 2 points, +4. It's okay. Good defense. And then Del Rivera has not scored yet up to this point, but he's got 2 assists as well. So everybody on our forward core has definitely helped out quite a bit. Obviously, it would be nice if a couple guys would step up. Like Ozzin's is technically our worst player on the roster right now, which is kind of a surprise. So he's got to get something going in the next round for sure. From a defensive standpoint, Cardwell on 5 points and a +5. He was great. Cracknell on 2 points, pretty solid. Ramo on the 1 goal, +4. Mangone was +3. And then Kavanagh and Turnbull were both minus, but Kavanagh picked up an assist. And then obviously goaltending-wise, Zadorov is just the playoff goat. Obviously, he started off a little bit sluggish, but still 4-2 with a .929 save percentage and a 2.35 goals against average. I think without him, I don't think we would have won a Stanley Cup, to be honest, in the series. Because with since bringing him in, he's just been a very great playoff goalie. That's insane. Like 26-10-3 with 2 shutouts only, but a .925 save percentage. Like he might not pick up a lot of shutouts, but he picks up very good games, or he just gives the team the chance to win, which is nice. So yeah, I think without him, I don't know where this team would be at this stage. So the question is, who are we playing in round 2? Is it going to be the Boston Bruins? Because if it's Boston, that'd be crazy. It's either Boston, Washington, or maybe Buffalo in the next round. I think it's Boston, though. Let's see, who is it going to be? It's going to be Buffalo. Okay, never mind. So no Mateo Burkov, but we are going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Obviously, if we go to the next round, we could play Boston potentially if they get to the next round as well. But we are taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Obviously, in my Jet Series, I've won 2 cups against the Buffalo Sabres, so I have good luck against them. But who knows about in this universe, in a sense. They went 47-29-6. We went 57-23-2. Let's take a look at how they have done so far in terms of playoff simulation. And also, actually, how they did regular season-wise, too. And then we'll take a look at their roster. So, in terms of how they simulated, they finished 16 points below us. They scored way less goals. They were pretty similar defensively, a little bit worse, I'd say. Their power play was better than ours, which is interesting. And their PK was worse. Okay. What about playoff-wise so far up to this point? Let's see what we got here. So, sort by wins. So they are 4-2 just like us. They're scoring less goals per game. They're allowing a tiny bit more as well. Their power play has been very bad up to this point, 8.7%. So hopefully we do not allow any power play goals against because of that. And our penalty kill has been pretty similar to theirs, but theirs has been a little bit better. Okay. Let's take a look at what the roster is looking like, because I don't know if we've actually played Buffalo in the playoffs before with Halifax. I feel like we've always played Tampa, Florida, Montreal, Detroit at one point as well, I think. So I don't know if we've ever played them. But here is their lineup. Oh my goodness, that center depth is tragic. Holy crap, what the heck? Okay, anyways, Hector Howden, never heard of you in my life. Jimmy Campagna and Gustav Brzgalov. Pretty solid first line. Campagna, though, obviously is not a top liner. He's literally listed as a 4th line forward. This is definitely the worst center depth I've ever seen, unless there's an injury. Vladimir Radulov, Jacob Westgarth, and Tim Gordon. Why do I recognize the name Tim Gordon? Why do I recognize the name Tim Gordon? Like, I feel like it's like an actor or something like that, or a race car driver. Oh, it's Jim Gordon I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm thinking of Jim Gordon, I think, or... Mate, I don't know where I'm thinking of Tim Gordon. It sounds familiar, though. Maybe it's just a generated name that I've seen before. Kelly Gogol. And then there's Cameron Volpati, Aaron DePenta. Okay. And a 4th line of Emilio Brindamore, Christian Schmidt, and Angelo Johnson. Angelo Johnson's quite the name. Okay, well, very good depth on the wings, but that center depth is one of the worst I've ever seen. But Westgarth has 6 points in 6 games. That's interesting. I feel like this is definitely the cheese type of team, unless they have an injury. Defensively, okay, they're pretty strong on their left defensive side, but not so much on the right side. So they're a very weirdly structured team. They have Chase Stapleton. They also have Ilya Kazanov. Alvin Powell is a 71. What the hell are you doing? Kirsten Gunderson, Graham Dillman, and Jace Byron. When I see Dillman, I think of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think it is. Goalie-wise, Aiden Griffith. So they have a very good goaltender. Probably was the successor to Devin Levi. Actually, never mind. He was just brought in from Carolina, apparently. And Edwin Petrovic. They have some older goalies. So, before we look at their scratch players, forward-wise, they're good on the wings, not down in the middle. Defensively, they're good on the left side, but not on the right side. And in goalie-wise, they're strong. So what is their depth looking like? They do not have any other centers. That's their actual center depth. What the hell? Okay. I'm not going to question it. It's helped them win a first round. But on the scratch side of things, they have Artem Kulikov, former pick of the LA Kings. Yanni Valahadi, who was a 16th overall pick of theirs way back, but he's not been playing. He looks like he's losing morale a bit. And they also have Andrei Zharkov, who is a backup goalie as well. So they have 3 goalies on their NHL roster. I don't know who this coach is, but he's got a very interesting system. Very interesting system. Like, this guy's not even a center. He's a right winger. He's got 70 for faceoffs, so it makes sense that he's there. But I would have probably told them to put Johnson there because he's a 73 on faceoffs. So that's a bit interesting. Maybe it's just because of the player type, but I don't really know what the logic is in that sense. But yeah, they do not have good center depth. but it seems to have worked for them, which is interesting. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft the Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to round 2 against the Buffalo Sabres as we look to keep on extending the series a little bit longer and longer. And who knows, maybe this team could go on a tear and win a Stanley Cup because Zadorov has been a beast the last 4 games. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.